What was Asia like before the Cold War? Asia, which we see today filled with third world countries, was not like this before the Cold Wars. Today we are about to peel back the layers of time to reveal the wonders of pre-Cold War Asia and how this rich, enchanting tapestry of Asia changed during the Cold War, a pivotal moment in history. From the difference in ideologies that changed the political norms to the clash of superpowers vying for influence and control that fueled the Cold War, we will explore all that happened. Stay tuned as we uncover Asia's richness in the pre-Cold War times. Let's venture into the heart of this captivating continent where mysteries and marvels await at every turn. Asia, a tapestry of cultures. Before we move ahead, let's have a glimpse of the vibrant tapestry of Asian civilizations, the bustling crossroads of the Silk Road, and the magnificent empires that once held sway over vast territories. Asia was more than a mere continent. It was the cradle of human civilization itself. From the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates to the fertile plains of the Indus Valley, Asia gave birth to some of the world's earliest advanced societies. Think of this as a collective human heritage site, where ancient wisdom flourished, and where great minds laid the foundations for science, philosophy, and art. From the invention of writing in Mesopotamia to the groundbreaking ideas of Confucius and Laozi in China, Asia's contributions to the world's intellectual and cultural heritage are immeasurable. The wonders of the past still echo through the corridors of time, but Asia's influence didn't just stay within its borders. It spread far and wide, and a critical artery for this exchange was the Silk Road. This vast network of trade routes connected the east to the west, allowing for the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures on an unprecedented scale. Along these routes, you'd find Buddhist monks sharing wisdom, Islamic scholars trading manuscripts, and travelers experiencing a melting pot of traditions. The Silk Road wasn't just about commerce, it was a bridge of understanding between East and West. As we move forward in time, we encounter the mighty empires that once ruled these lands. The Mongol Empire, under the leadership of Genghis Khan, was a force to be reckoned with. Its swift conquests stretched from the Pacific to the Mediterranean, transforming the Eurasian landscape. But the grandeur of empires didn't end there. We'll also delve into the opulent Mughal Empire, known for its architectural marvels like the Taj Mahal and its cultural contributions that continue to influence India today. These empires left a lasting imprint on the regions they governed, shaping the destiny of Asia and the world. Asia was a land where civilizations thrived and bridges between cultures were built. Soon after the downfall of the mighty empires came the era of colonialism. Colonial Asia. Everyone wanted a part of this rich continent. Colonialism was a period marked by the scramble for Asia's riches. European powers sought to extend their dominion across this vast continent, forever altering the course of its civilizations and societies. The thirst for wealth and resources drove European colonial powers to venture across the oceans and establish their presence in Asia. The allure of spices, textiles, and precious metals led to a frenzied competition that would see the rise of empires across the continent. As they expanded their territories, European colonizers brought their own cultures and systems, forever shaping the identities of Asian nations. The impact was profound as local traditions intersected with foreign influences in ways that continue to shape the world we know today. Britain's insatiable demand for Chinese tea and porcelain led to a troubling trade, the opium trade. The nationwide addiction crisis in China set the stage for an international conflict. In the wake of these devastating conflicts, unequal treaties were imposed on Asian nations, stripping them of sovereignty and further enhancing the power of colonial rulers. The Opium Wars and these treaties would leave a lasting scar on the collective memory of Asia. This era of colonialism brought both prosperity and pain to Asia, an intricate tapestry woven with tales of exploitation and resistance. Asian Awakening, an era of nationalism and independence. As the sun set on the era of colonialism, a new dawn broke in Asia, the era of awakening, nationalism, and the relentless pursuit of independence. The quest for self-determination became a rallying cry across Asia. The winds of change were in the air, and from the bustling streets to the remote villages, people yearned for the right to govern their destinies. The struggle for independence united diverse communities in a common cause. These turbulent times highlighted the influential figures of Asia who left an indelible mark on the fight for freedom. from the non-violent movements, where leaders like Mahatma Gandhi in India and leaders in other parts of Asia championed passive resistance, turning the spotlight on the injustice of colonial rule. Meanwhile, other regions saw uprisings and armed struggles as nations confronted their oppressors head-on. They were visionaries, philosophers, and revolutionaries who inspired movements that would shake the foundations of colonial rule. The road to independence was neither smooth nor bloodless. It was a journey marked by a complex tapestry of nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience on one hand, and on the other, by the sacrifice of countless lives in battles fought for liberty. The toll of these struggles was immense, with both freedom fighters and colonial forces paying a heavy price. These were battles not just for land, but for the hearts and souls of a people determined to forge their destinies. The journey towards independence was a testament to the unyielding spirit of humanity and the desire for liberty that knows no bounds. The World War II impact World War II, a global conflagration that engulfed nations on multiple continents, also played out in Asia, forever altering the course of the region's history. It all began with Japan's ambitious expansion and its audacious attack on the American naval base at Pearl Harbor. This shocking event thrust Asia into the throes of the Pacific War. The consequences rippled across the continent as the tides of conflict swept through nations and societies unprepared for the devastation that would follow. Pearl Harbor was not just an isolated event. It set the stage for a series of battles and invasions, including the conquest of Southeast Asia and the Philippines, forever altering the political and social landscape of the region. World War II reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Asia, leaving an indelible mark. The aftermath of the conflict saw the emergence of new nations, the redrawing of borders, and a shift in global dynamics that would define the second half of the 20th century. The superpower rivalry. As the embers of World War II cooled, a new conflict emerged, the superpower rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union that set the stage for turbulent times. The end of World War II marked the beginning of a new kind of confrontation. The United States and the Soviet Union, the two superpowers of the post-war world, extended their rivalry into Asia, a region of great strategic significance. One pivotal moment was the division of Korea, an event that would have far-reaching consequences. It led to the outbreak of the Korean War, a conflict that served as a microcosm of the larger Cold War. We'll examine the forces at play, the power struggles, and the human toll of this defining moment. The early Cold War period in Asia was marked by proxy conflicts, where superpower interests played out in the battles of others. Roadmap to the Cold War. The Cold War in Asia was not merely a backdrop to the larger global conflict. It had its unique dynamics, rooted in ideological differences, geopolitical interests, and a haunting theory. One of the fundamental pillars of the Cold War was the ideological clash between communism and capitalism. Asia found itself at the epicenter of this struggle. The appeal of Marxism, championed by the Soviet Union and China, clashed with the principles of capitalism upheld by the United States and its allies. This ideological divergence fueled tensions across the continent as nations weighed their options and allegiances. Asia became a battleground for conflicting worldviews, with both superpowers striving to win the hearts and minds of its people. Asia's vast expanse and abundant resources made it a strategic chessboard for the superpowers. Their geopolitical interests in the region were multifaceted, encompassing military bases, economic influence, and access to vital trade routes. The significance of Asia in the global power struggle cannot be overstated. Nations in the region were not mere pawns in the game. They held keys to superpower dominance. This geopolitical tug-of-war often came at the expense of local autonomy. A theory that cast a long shadow over Asia during the Cold War was the domino theory. It suggested that if one Asian nation were to fall to communism, others would follow suit, like a row of toppling dominoes. This theory played a pivotal role in shaping US and Soviet policies in the region. The fear of a domino effect led to interventions and conflicts, as the superpowers sought to prevent the spread of communism, or in the case of the Soviet Union, to encourage it. This theory had profound implications for the course of the Cold War in Asia. The Korean and Vietnam Wars. The Korean War, often seen as a microcosm of the larger Cold War, was a dramatic showdown between the United States and the Soviet Union. It was a proxy battle, with North Korea backed by the Soviets and South Korea by the United States. The conflict served as a testing ground for Cold War strategies and ideologies. The Korean War was a brutal and complex struggle, one that left a lasting division on the Korean peninsula. The role of the superpowers in this conflict was instrumental, and their involvement had a profound impact on the course of the war. The Vietnam War, on the other hand, was a prolonged and deeply divisive conflict. As the Cold War escalated, so did the intensity of this struggle. The United States sought to prevent the spread of communism in Southeast Asia, while the Soviet Union supported communist forces. The Vietnam War was marked by a significant human toll and widespread suffering. It was a brutal reminder of the consequences of superpower rivalries, and it shaped the collective memory of an entire generation. The superpower clash in Asia wasn't limited to conventional warfare. It also extended into the realm of nuclear weapons. The arms race in Asia heightened fears of a nuclear confrontation that could bring catastrophic consequences to the region. Nuclear powers, including China and India, entered the fray, and the presence of these weapons in Asia further complicated the geopolitical landscape. The threat of nuclear conflict cast a long shadow over the region, creating an atmosphere of perpetual tension. The Vietnam War stands out as one of the most significant examples. It was not just a conflict between North and South Vietnam, it was a battleground in the global struggle between communism and capitalism. The fear of nuclear war loomed large over Asia during this period. The world held its breath as superpowers engaged in a dangerous game of brinkmanship. Asia found itself caught in the crossfire, with nations in the region facing the threat of nuclear annihilation. As we see through the pages of history, it is clear that one of the biggest continents of the world, Asia, was skillfully colonized and looted. Not only that, but later the superpowers used it as a battleground safeguarding their territories. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click the notification bell icon so that you don't miss a single episode of History Duck.